Hello, Mary. Mary, try and sort this one out. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that can be. Let's talk about fish. Fish. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Instrumental break. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. 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 Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Fish. I think that one will do.
Yeah, that'll do real well. Thank you, Lee. Nice to be with you all. Hello, good morning. I got a blurry picture here. Let's see if I can fix this. I think if I get my other camera plugged in and turned on. How do I turn it on? We'll get a better picture. It's about 10 steps here. There we go. Got it. That better? That's better. All right. Good morning, Blake. Enjoyed your game last night. That was great fun. Mary Page. Roxanne. Chevy. Mark Carnett. Hi, Mark. Posted a link. I want to do this again right now. Mary Page's family needs a little help right now. They've been caught short, and they've got to get funeral expenses covered for the baby within about 48 hours. So I offered my own and my friends' support to help them out. There's a link to a PayPal account in Abram's name. If you'll click on that and go there and just leave whatever you are able. The goal is $1,200. That should be achievable. Want to make sure the link works. Yes, good. Okay. Very good. So please do that. And let's take one little load of pressure off of this precious family as they're just heartbroken at the loss of their little baby. Oh. Rose trying to get Stephen to come up. Stephen, he and Chevy Fish are two of our shyest, and I should also say our most informed, scientifically based, supportive, and helpful uh, participants here. And not one of them will come online with us. So that's all right. I respect that. We'll get a system going eventually that will just be audio, and that'll help maybe. Misfit reptiles and aquatics. Oh dear, woke to a cracked 220-gallon tank and a flooded living room. How dreadful. Oh, Misfit, that's terrible. Feel for you, brother, sister, whoever. Goodness. Yeah, I have a policy about big fish tanks. I keep them in fish rooms. I don't set them up in the most delicate places in my house that'll be destroyed by water weeder. Boy, brain's out this morning. Ugh. It's like hails originally from Kentucky. Yeah, Mary Page and the family are going to be traveling back there to inter Avram in a family cemetery. So they're leaving right away today or tomorrow. So please send a little bit of help. It will be greatly, greatly appreciated. Rose saying you can turn the camera off and just use voice. Well, we could certainly do that. I would not be averse to that at all. Oh, Ro, are you trying to throw me up to replace you this morning? Ah. Mary, going to the beautiful mountains where my husband was born and raised. Oh no, dog knocked the lamp over and cracked it. Well, that's a big tank too. I don't mind repairing cracked tanks, but when they're really big like that, it's somewhat problematic. That's a sad loss. That's a very sad loss, Misfit. I really feel for you. They're fighting with Stephen to try to get him to come on. I think he's a strong holdout there, Rod. Oh dear. And Lee's not with us this morning. He might be off picking up Sue. Rach is here. One Dirty Platty is here. Rohan J. Good morning, good morning. Misfit was raised in Paintsville. I have no idea where that is. I went to college in Barberville. I was there for 4 years. Well, you're very welcome, Chevy, and you're certainly very deserving of any and all accolades. Rohan, did you get my videos? I did. I got them this morning. Have not had a chance to look yet. I will. Mark is in Cincinnati now. Oh, dear. I'm having a hard time getting it in here this morning. Quite a conquest. The marine tank coming on you set up about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, I need to get over there and shoot some pictures of it. It's doing fine. We don't have any fish in it. So I need to get some fish in it. Oh dear. Well, that was good, Misfit, that you were able to save your fish and save your furniture. In fact, there are a couple of tanks. That's only one of them that we've set up online and have not shown. The little tank for the lady in the nursing home is still sitting here. We still have not been able to deliver it to her. And the bell jars that we set up, freshwater, a couple of months ago, are still going strong. Need to get my video back there. I'll tell you what, I'll do a little video of them today. Was looking for something to do a video about today, and that's as good as any. So I will do that, and I'll also show the original 55 from last September. So that'll be fun. We'll get a group of them in. Where is Frank? I think Frank is sleeping. He's like you. He stays up all night and then doesn't get up in the morning. Chevy Fish is posting my online store. Thank you so much. No. Drop the link again. I'll do it. Let's see. Before I do that, let me drop the link for Avram first. And then I'll do the StreamYard link. Billy Dog, good morning. Cassie B. Hi, Cassie B. What was it I wanted to talk with you about? I don't remember. Something. You had a question? I don't remember what it was. Remind me, Cassie B. You sent me a text message or something, and I wanted to be sure to get back to you with it, and that's all I remember. So the things are not clicking yet. Oh my word. Blake's got to wake up in 7 hours. We're going to keep him up. Well, let's try to keep him up. Wonderful to have you here, Blake. Appreciate you very much. You are amazing. I'm deeply impressed with your fish keeping skills, and as much as you have been able to learn in the short time you've been on this earth. It's very impressive. Ian is up way too early. Yeah, Ian said he got up at 5:30. It's probably midnight where Blake is. Okay, Steven's gonna come up on voice. I need to stay over here so I can hear him coming. Patrick Farm, good morning. Blake, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. The long sleep. Aquatic Conquest, yes. Blake is certainly worth checking out. He's got a really amazing website, channel, YouTube channel. Rose posting something. Don't know what. Well, I think you got a leg up on me, Blake. One of the difficulties with what I'm doing, and it's something that is a difficulty for me, is that I really am not growing the way I used to as a fish keeper. Or as a fish sustainer, I should say. I'm a, I'm a fish monger, a fish purveyor. I move them in and move them out. If I get to keep a fish for a year, that's extraordinary. Generally, I get to keep them for a week, a month, 2 months at the tops. So I really don't have a chance to do the kinds of things that all of you guys are able to do, to really get to know the fish long term, and learn about them. And now that I'm in a position where I'm able to get so many more fish than I've ever had, so many more kinds, it it hurts all the more every time I sell one. I try to take joy in that. I try to take joy in getting fish for others. I'm old enough now that I'm not going to keep a fish for 10 years. Um, so if I can get some really really wonderful fish to some people who will be able to keep them for a long period of time, that satisfies me greatly. Stephen got back and forth this morning because a pacu went into shock. Now there's dedication. Getting up in the middle of the night for a pacu. That's real dedication. Glory. Bates and Genetics, good morning. Nice to have you with us. Reserve a few tanks for long-term keeping. I do, and when I put fish in there that I really cherish and am excited about keeping, somebody comes along and they wheedle it out of me. I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for people falling in love with my fish. Oh, I've got to have that. Oh my, where did you get that, Father Fish? I've got to have that. Oh, please, Father Fish. please, when they spawn, I'll be sure to bring you babies. And you know, they always do. They always do. I always wind up with babies. I get babies once a week from folks who have been able to spawn their fish and bring them in. Cassie B, I asked yesterday if 74 to 76 was an okay temp, or rather what fish can be kept. Beginner video says at 80. It's a matter of stability, Cassie B. I prefer keeping them warmer, um, mainly because it wards off the potential for parasites or disease. The warmer the water, the better the chance of being able to keep the fish healthy. What's critical though is to not let it vacillate. If it goes up and down, that really can stress the fish, particularly in a small tank where the temperature can fluctuate very quickly. So, whatever you set it at, try to keep it there. If your house warms up to 80 and gets down to 75, set it at 80 so it'll stay at a stable temperature. Aquatic Conquest. I've looked at your channel before. I didn't subscribe at the time. However, that has now changed. Really impressive, bulky wash hands. Blake wash hands, right. Blake's posting his own link. Thank you. Thank you, Blake, for doing that. That's great. Appreciate it. Appreciate having you here. Chevy Fish says, Dirty Platty, I sleep sporadically when the toothpicks don't hold my eyelids open anymore. Ian says, Stephen, I passed out watching the stream. Did the Pacu recover? Hat trick is posted to Blake. Chevy Fish says, Goody Eye cannot handle heat. True enough. There are some fish that really have to be kept cold. But if you're keeping fish like that, then you know that. These are fish that are not typically available to the average hobbyist. The Goody Eye is a Central American fish. Most of them can handle temperatures into the low 80s. But there certainly are fish, and almost any of the USA temperate zone fish, like from essentially South Carolina forward, Tennessee, Kentucky, Maryland, Virginia, and points north, all have to be kept in cooler water, which in many cases means a chiller to be able to keep them. Aquatic Conquest mountain minnows come to mind. Yeah, that's right. Dicostomix is creating his first started tank today. Well, good luck with that. Make sure you don't stir it up when you add water. Bill Witt. Good morning, Bill Witt and the Father Fed Shoal. Yes, indeed. Roe is recommending sword plants to Dicostomix. I'm going to be getting a big order of sword plants in this week. I'm getting stem plants in also this week, so I'll have a large supply of plants when Kenny and the guys get here on Thursday. Hopefully, I won't be putting them in the tank that day. Um, I'm trying to get them to ship out a little earlier so that I can have them in the tanks. Billy Dog has white cloud minnows that he runs at room temperature. That's a good example. Most of the Danios as well. The Danios can be kept at cooler temperatures um, very successfully. And there are many others, most of the live bearers. Certainly the sailfin molly and any of the Florida fish. As I said, any of the U.S. domestics can be kept in cooler water. Typical tropical fish store community fish ought to be in warmer water. And keep in mind, much of the advice that I offer that's kind of wallpaper advice is really intended for beginners, for people who are setting up their first tank or are trying to be very conservative and careful with their aquarium. It's not intended as hard and fast rules for the master fish keeper, but then the master fish keeper knows that perfectly well. So just kind of keep that in mind that I'm speaking um, as a shopkeeper who meets people all day, every day, who are trying to keep their guppies alive. And so that's the level of the advice and the consideration that I have. Not to say I don't know more than that, but I've forgotten a lot of what I ever knew. So take take my advice then with an appropriate grain of salt. Nicholas is setting up a quarantine set up to Father Fish's specs. Eon, talking about Medaka, a great starter fish, hard to find. Let's see if we can bring it up here. Images. The little Japanese fish. Let me try to get it. I'm gonna probably wind up losing. Yeah, figures. I can only do one application at a time. Here it is. Let's see. Yeah, he's talking about the rice fish. Uh, I'm able to get them now and have them pretty routinely. Just looking for the one I've got. It's the blue eye with a blue sheen. There's an albino. Here we go. Pearl Galaxy. It's not that. Let's see. Orizius. The Medaka. This is not finding it. Oh, that's funny. This right here is referred to as a Japanese Medaka. That's a Formosa. It's a native Floridian fish, Native American fish. It may exist in Florida. It's not a rice fish, however, uh, unless it looks for all the world like a Formosa, which is a live bearer. Maybe somebody can help me out there. I'm trying to find the one I've got, and I'm not finding it. It's a pretty little fish. Has blue eyes, sort of like this, but with a blue sheen on its body. This one's called a Pearl Galaxy. I think that's not the one I have. See how many of these fish there are. We've been through half a dozen species at least. Really, really pretty little fish. There, look at that. I don't know. There's a good example of one laying eggs. So, yeah, really pretty fish. It's one I thoroughly enjoy. They can be a little tricky though. They tend to get ick very easily. I've found that here in my shop, I have to keep them in a warmer temperature in order to keep them from getting diseased. I've had 4 batches of them, and all 4 batches have gotten ick. And nothing else in the shop has had it. So it didn't come from something else. I was able to catch it in time in the 4th case. In the first 3 cases, I did not catch it in time, and I lost them all. In the other case, I got heat on it very quickly. It cleared up very quickly. Yes, thank you, Blake. It's the daisies. The daisies rice fish does require heat, and that's the one I have. Thank you for that. Cassie be looking for a reliable heater. Well, I'll tell you what about reliable heaters. For my money, there ain't no such critter. I've spent hundreds of dollars on heaters that have crapped out after a year. I bought titanium heaters that have not held up. I bought expensive and cheap ones, and they're all the same to me. The key for me is to get one that is going to burn out on the element rather than the thermostat. If the element burns out, that's okay. If the thermostat sticks, that's not okay. So I try to buy the cheapest heaters, because when they go up because the element burns out, which is actually pretty easily repairable. Having a more expensive one where the thermostat sticks will cause overheating, which raises another issue, and that is the wattage of heater in the tank. I like to use a higher wattage, but there are substantial dangers with that. Primary of which is a heater with a stuck thermostat and a higher wattage is going to heat the water up to a dangerous level. Better to have 2 or 3 100-watt heaters than one 300-watt heater. If, as you are looking at your tank, you have an external thermometer that's sitting right in front of you that you can look at on a daily basis, then you're going to be okay. It's not going to kick the temperature up typically in a matter of a few hours. Heaters are dangerous things. And they really are a crapshoot. I've yet to find, maybe somebody here has knowledge of something that I don't. I'd appreciate it. Blake, maybe you know of a high quality heater that doesn't burn out in some way. I really don't. Let's see. Oh, I want to post Avram's GoFundMe again. And let's promote that. Avram's family is leaving for Kentucky immediately, and they are caught in a financial bind with funeral expenses for the baby. They really could use a little help right now. If you can go to the PayPal site and help out a little bit, I know it will be greatly appreciated. Logan is here. Hi, Logan. Oh, that's interesting. Blake says, I have a tank with $1,000 worth of fish and a $10 heater. Well, there you go. There you go. Logan's, nice to see you. He's back off work, I guess. Misfit speaker died. Let's see, I'm going to get back over here to StreamYard. Let me post this one more time. Anybody who'd like to come up for a few minutes is more than welcome to join me. Ian was sick, Logan says. Ryan's posting information about electric aquarium heaters, watts, and so forth. That's interesting. Good job. Appreciate that, Rohan. Let's see. Danny Ken's going to be on the road today. Oh, here's Logan's. Hi there. Get you up here. I've got to get rid of this guy to do it. Good to see you, Logan.
Good to see you again, Father Fish. How are you?
Let's see. Say something so I know if I'm hearing you.
Can you hear me?
I'm not hearing you. Oh, I know why. I've got my speaker in. There. I got you now.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, turn your volume off on your YouTube.
Hold on.
There we go. Did you get it?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Great. Yes, that's perfect. We're getting some feedback.
Really?
Yeah, get over on StreamYard and cut off the volume on YouTube.
All right, let me go on my laptop. I'll go on my laptop and I'll pop in there.
I think we're okay now. We are getting feedback. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's me. Let me look. Hold on a second. No, not that one. That's the only one I got open. I don't think it's me.
I'll go on my laptop.
Okay, thank you. All right. Stephen, that's what he was worried about. Just like reliable products, and heaters are one of the least reliable of all the products. Yeah, there are a number of things like that. Hang on the back filters are another one. Hang on the back filters have a way of wearing out after, in many cases, after a very short period of time. I've actually sent them out in the box brand new and had them come back immediately, and they're no good. They're manufactured with so many flaws in them, they just can't keep going. There's a lot of stuff like that. That's why I try as best I can. Thank you, Betsy. That's why I try as best I can to keep it really simple, and use things that are easy to duplicate, that are relatively inexpensive, and are going to hold up for a long time. A good example is vibrator pumps. My God, vibrator pumps. You'd think that little diaphragm in there would wear out, and it does, but it takes a long time. I've got some 10 years old and more that are still holding up. Kind of amazing. Blake is saying, I agree, Ray, hang on back. Had three burnout in one. Yeah, they just don't hold up. Canister filters are another one. Canister filters, anything that's got moving parts in it, unless they're made to a very high specification, they're going to wear out. And most anything made in this industry is not made at high specifications. Typically, it's made to get the price point down, which means the specs are as minimal as they can be. There really are virtually no standards, manufacturing standards in this industry. There are some that some manufacturers maintain, but they always tend to come out with a cheaper line that has lower specs. And that's part of the reason, I think, that I've gravitated back to basics, to keeping fish in the simplest way possible. Because so much of the equipment, so much of the supplies is just too cheap to be worth spending money on. And that includes fish food. Most of the fish food that's out there is purchased as waste product from processing plants, whether it's fish processing, chicken processing, whatever. It's waste products from processing plants. that's boiled down, dried out, and flaked. One of the few companies that does not do that is Omega One. They actually have their own fishing fleet. They catch their own fish and process the whole fish. Well, I've got a little more confidence in that than I do some of the major brands. Sam Dam, Father Fish. I'm feeding crushed, mushed food to my fry. It creates a cloud of food, goes all over the tank. I think this type of feeding is beneficial for all of the organisms in the tank, including the plants. Yes, it is. What you have to be careful about is the potential for polluting the tank. Make sure you're feeding very tiny amounts. It will cloud and it will spread throughout the tank. And that is beneficial to microscopic life. But it's really easy to overdo it. For example, if you are feeding egg yolk, you can break off pieces of egg yolk, crush it up, cooked egg yolk, crush it up, and put it in the tank. It will feed the entire tank. It'll spread throughout. It will be typically a large enough amount that it'll begin to deteriorate. Bacteria will begin to grow on the waste because there won't be enough organisms to take care of all of it. So the excess will generate bacteria. If you do that often enough, the bacteria will become a slime coat and can even get into the water column and foul the water, burning out the oxygen, creating a crash. So the solution is to put the egg yolk in a cloth, like a silk handkerchief or a microfiber cloth, and squeeze it until you get a little bit coming through. Then just put a few drops of that in the tank. I was looking at Billy Dog's comment. That's funny. A few drops of it in. It's wonderful food. It's a great way to feed baby fish. A better way, of course, is to feed live food. Rotifer culture or microworm culture are perfect for baby fish. And you can feed those, you can overfeed those and not foul your tank. So try always to err on the side of live food for baby fish rather than some kind of processed food or even natural food like egg yolk. It works, but you must be careful with it or you're going to foul the water. It also requires, if you're doing that, that you do routine water changes. And by routine, I mean every 1 or 2 days. There are people who raise fish in large quantities in this way who do water changes, 100% water changes several times a day. Be sensitive to that. Be careful about what you're doing or you're going to lose everything. Stephen says, I don't believe in feeding fish food they would not eat in their habitat, partly because they won't have a high level of enzymes in their immune system to fight over whatever it could be carrying. Good case in point. Read the ingredients on the fish food. If it contains substantial amounts of grain cereal, particularly corn, don't feed it to your fish. They cannot digest it. It creates waste. One company, whose name I shall not speak, is proud of the fact that you can dump the whole can of food in the tank and it won't foul. But feed it to your fish and it will, because it contains so much filler that by the time it begins to be processed by the fish and is pooped out, it gets attacked by bacteria and can run rampant in the tank. Blake, vinegar eels are his favorite because they stay at the top where the fry often are. I like vinegar eels. I prefer microworms. Microworms don't stay at the top. You're absolutely correct about that. Most of the fish I breed, though, stay at the bottom. Kind of funny. Most tetras stay at the top. Most cichlids stay at the bottom. I have trouble just technically with vinegar eels, figuring out how to get them out of the vinegar and feed them to the fish. I've never fed much of them, so I haven't developed skills in doing it. But I certainly have other fishy friends like you, Blake, who swear by vinegar eels and would not feed anything else to their baby fish. So you're right. The other good thing about vinegar eels is that you can't kill the culture. With microworm, if you don't rebuild that culture, actually start a new one every 2 weeks or so, it's cooked, it's toast, it's done. They're dead. It does not last. Whereas vinegar eels, I had years ago, this is 20 years ago, I found a jar of vinegar on a top shelf way in the back that I had put there at least 10 years earlier. Brought it down, looked at it, didn't see a thing in it. It had been a vinegar eel culture. Put a piece of apple in it. Within days, it was clouded thick with vinegar eels. You can't kill that stuff. It really is amazing. And that's real important for the casual hobbyist who can't keep a microworm culture going indefinitely for the occasional spawn of baby fish. Vinegar eels are a much, much better alternative for that purpose, for feeding baby fish. You can stick them on the shelf and they're going to be there when you need them. Just takes a day or two to get them back up. Stephen is saying he feeds over 500 species, uses a lot of worms he collects himself, and has a brine shrimp hatchery. Brine shrimp are the key to any kind of successful fishing. You know, I'll give you a little clue about brine shrimp that can be a big help. Anybody who does brine shrimp, after you pull off the babies, generally the second day, you've got a little bit of gunk left in there, and you usually throw it down the sink, flush it down the toilet, whatever. Don't do that. Take it outside and put it in a little tub all by itself. Just put it in a tub and leave it alone. Do that every time you got a little bit of waste. Throw it in there. Come back in a week and you're going to have half-grown brine shrimp. A week later, they'll be full-grown. And if you do 2 of these tubs, you can go back and forth between them and with no effort at all be feeding adult brine shrimp to your fish. It is simple. It is foolproof. It is a way to double your effort with brine shrimp. Down the wormhole is here. Hello, hello. Like, yeah, we need to get together. We absolutely need to get together. Asking Stephen what he feeds. Stephen, talk about Stephen. Pick me, pick me. I know, I know. Ah, I've missed a bunch of conversation here. Yeah, Roxanne's saying the same thing about egg yolk. You only need a very, very tiny amount. One drop will feed an entire class of fish, probably for 2 days. Okay. Rohan, egg yolk boiled or raw? Generally boiled. You can do it raw, generally boiled, just a little easier to deal with. And Blake saying different strokes. I guess he's talking about worms. Uh, Microworm is opposed to vinegar worm. Mark Connor, baby brine and powdered beef heart. Powdered beef heart flakes. That's a great food. A little hard to find. Um, I've had powdered beef heart flakes at various times, and I really like it. It's pure protein. It's a great food. Not not really in production very much. Kind of hard to come by. Arcus, hello Arcus. Stephen. Let's see. Temperature and feeding tips subtitled for today's stream. Yeah, good, good, good. I need to go in and do that. I have to do that after it's published or after it's posted, I guess. I don't think I can do it in process. I don't think. Let me take a look here. YouTube Studio. Oh, I didn't have to do that, did I? I could have gone right to analytics. Content. Live. I can. Right there. Video details. Okay, let me go back now and pick up your comment. Blake transitions from vinegar release to microworms to BBS. So the vinegar reel is smaller than microworm. Coffee filters to strain vinegar reels the tiny ones get through. Baby brine shrink 3 weeks. Blake's doesn't strain vinegar reels. He cultures them in a beer bottle with a skinny neck, place filter frost at the base, and put aquarium water on top of that. And then you siphon off the water, pour it out, pipette. So you can siphon that out as well. If you do, it's always the risk of swallowing a mouthful of vinegar reels. Probably be healthy. Yeah. Outside brine shrimp, Holly asking if the outside brine shrimp tub needs air. No, it does not. You do not need to put air in it. You can, but it's not necessary. If you'll do some kind of tub, that'll work better than a jar. Cassidy, we're all newbies at something. You bet. Steven, if the tank is new, you still need to be checking parameters. Yeah, once it's established with more plants, less water changes are needed. Jimmy Kuo, I think Stephen answered that. That was important. Talking about water changes with the deep substrate, an older tank that's well established is able to handle a bigger bio load than a brand new tank, even with the deep substrate. The deep substrate can handle much more than a bare tank or a new tank, substantially more, but it cannot handle it grows, it becomes stronger, it becomes richer and more able to handle more life in the tank as it ages and develops a stronger foundation. Okay, we got a lot of good stuff here. What are we doing time wise? About 10 minutes. I wanted to pick up the comment on notations for today's, and I've lost it. I think it was Cassie B posted it. Can't find it. Oh, here we go. Temperature and feeding tips. Yeah, heaters. Temperature, heaters, and feeding tips. Heaters. Live foods for baby fish. Wonderful. This is cool. So I can do this as we go along. That's a big help. Temp and feeding. Thank you, Nicholas. Jeffrey Watts. Hello, Jeffrey Watts. Lisa, hope you're feeling better. Down the wormhole, I froze my micro worms when I moved. None around here to buy easy. Hated the smell so much. Huh. Yeah, they're a little difficult to transport. There is a little trick to starting a microworm culture from scratch. The microworm is a very common nematode. I haven't done this, but I have it on the best advice that scooping out a baked potato and burying the skin in a flower bed, going back to it in 2 weeks and digging it up, and then culturing some of that in a yeast culture will yield microworms. So you might give that a try if you're looking for microworms. I got to put that one up. Microworm from scratch. Blake, is there a way to do vinegar eels from scratch? Chevy Fish talking about surface area. That's really the key to most everything. Surface area increases the area where oxygen CO2 exchange occurs. And that's what every body of water depends on for its survival. Who said that? Boy, I lose stuff here so quick. Holly went to her spring-fed pond yesterday, full of some kind of lily, collected to see how they do in tanks. Well, they may take over your tank. Roxanne said plants appreciate water changes. Yeah, the benefit of the deep substrate, particularly when it has all of the additives that I put in, is that it extends the life of the substrate. It is also true that by creating it, it creates the opportunity for waste to sift down into it and be broken down, and thereby increase trace elements for stem plants or rooted plants. So a deep substrate will extend the life of the watering, require less water changes based on its ability to provide micronutrition trace element for longer periods of time through the deep substrate. If that makes any sense to you. I'll make a note there about deep substrate nutrition. Importance of live food versus prepared food. Temperature and feeding tips. Rose going to be up next. How many years will my organic potting soil last without tearing my tank apart and starting again? It will last indefinitely. One of the things you will need to do, though, and it's pretty simple to do it, you can recharge the substrate after about 2 years by freezing soil, particularly soil with additives, in ice cube trays, and then pushing the ice cube down to the bottom of the substrate. You'll get a little bit of melt. So if you can refreeze it around a second cube that's just water, you can prevent some of that. But the idea of being able to do frozen soil means you won't get the live bacteria, but you've already got that. You will get the trace elements. So it is a way to recharge. It also can be done with a little more difficulty with a baster, pushing the baster all the way down to the bottom. The difficulty with that is that when you do that, it pushes water up through the substrate and can very easily push waste out into the tank. So you want to be careful if you're doing it with a baster. Michael Kirby. Hello, Michael. 10 o'clock crowd is coming in on us, guys. Alexander, doesn't sound like it will mix the sand and dirt at all. It's pretty good. It works pretty well. Aquatic Conquest, you need to push it well down push it all the way down to the bottom. And if you use the tiny cubes rather than the bigger ones, it'll work a lot better. Get the little drink ice cube trays. So you're pushing little tiny ones down rather than larger ones. Let's see. Let me make a note of that. That's a funny one. Recharging deep substrate with tiny ice cube, tiny dirted ice cubes, tiny dirty ice cubes. That's funny. Yeah, Roxanne said the plants will also let you know when they're hungry through stunted growth. Dropping bottom leaves, pinned yellow leaves. Some plants are much heavier root feeders than others. What about using root tabs? Works just fine. The difficulty is getting them down, and getting them to stay down. Again, the ice cube system works pretty well to be able to get them down in there and stay down in there. Mary Page is posting the GoFundMe again. Please help out. Mary Page's family, they're having a sudden struggle right now, a challenge with having to pay funeral expenses for baby Abram in the next 24 to 48 hours. It's something that needs to be taken care of right away. They're strapped right now. They just had so many expenses with the baby that they really could use a little help right now. They need about $1,200. So I'm hoping that some money can come in to help them out. They're up to 130. Let's get in there and put a little more in. Let me do that right now while I'm thinking about it. Let's see. Pay. Okay, I've made my donation. Please go in and make a donation. Anything at all. Anything will help. Please help out a little bit. They have to leave and go to Kentucky right away to bury the baby. This is a terribly, horribly traumatic experience for these folks. Please help them out. I just also made a pledge and posted on Facebook. So we're getting down to the bottom here. A dirty martini. Absolutely, that trick. Yes, a dirty martini. It's precisely right. Massey report. Yeah. Sending Roe out to get cigarettes. Quite a conquest talking about Bacopa, the Renike, Alternatera Renike. Take a phone call and come back. Everybody drinking martinis. Funny stuff. Funny stuff. The link to GoFundMe. Mary Page just posted it. Click on that and it'll take you there. All right. All right. Stem plants are not doing well. Try recharging that soil. See if that makes a difference, aquatic. One dirty planting. Why is it some people seem to think gas pockets form in sand substrate? And the answer is that a bad thing? Of course they do. Of course it does. It's called nitrogen. It's the most plentiful gas on Earth. And it goes straight into the atmosphere. Doesn't dissolve in the water at all. And even if it did, there's not a thing it could possibly hurt. Not to worry. Yes, we are having a great conversation. Appreciate you all. We're gonna sign off here pretty quick. We're running over Roxanne, talking about plants, showing the need for food. I think we got about. I think I've actually managed to keep up a little bit. Blake's saying it makes you wonder if you want an apple a day. Sugar Hill Gang microworm. Funny stuff. Funny stuff. Is Omega 1 freeze dried brine shrimp good for fish? Nicholas says yes, it is. I prefer live food or even frozen food, not freeze dried, because it contains some live matter, contains some organics. Freeze dried food contains no living organics. Down the wormhole, try it for homeschooling. Okay. I've gone all the way back here as far as I have a mind to go. Let me check my notifications. Nothing exciting there. Rohan saying thank you. And Lee saying, Father Fish. So Lee's not with us this morning, but we're going to sign off with him. Steven says if the tank is new, you still need to be checking water parameters. Once the bacteria is established, you will be able to do less of that. Okay, so let me go over here. Let me go over here. How am I going to do this? I'm going to go to my channel. Is that going to help me? Probably not. Actually, not a bit. All right. So we'll have to go to Lee's channel. And here we go. And we need to get him up. Great to be with you guys. I've enjoyed it so much. It's been a really good stream. I'm so thankful for you all. You make it all worthwhile. I came on here kind of dopey and half out of it, and you brought the stream to life. And here to end it all in grand form is our fish fan Barb, Lee.
Sort this one out. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that can be. Let's talk about fish. Fish. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Instrumental break.
Thank you all. God bless you all. See you tomorrow morning.
Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. 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 Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Fish.
Yeah.
I think that one will do. I'll play it back and I'll see what I think. I think it's probably the nuts. And that'll be the one. And you can play around with all of it and decide what you want to do in your production stream for Savada Fish.